so we can chat.
Yeah.
Everything going on. How's the deck going, by the way? Is it progressing?
Yeah, nearly done. So yeah,
Yep.
I've just got to do probably this weekend, and then I still haven't come back to settle it all. So
Okay. Yeah.
Looks pretty good though.
Mate, we're good to go, mate. We'll just give everyone a couple of maybe 30 seconds, a minute.
Yep.
Hey, guys and girls. Tony and I are going live today. Mate, what are we doing today? We're doing time management.
Time management, yeah.
Yep, cool. Cool. I'll just set my screens up. If you're out there, hey Luke, how you doing, mate? Luke from Tasmania. If you're online, just give us a hello or a like so we know you're there. Got any questions after we get started? Feel free to join in where you can. Tony, we might as well get this party started, mate.
No worries, Tez.
All right. What are we going to be talking about today, mate?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about time management. I think that that's probably one of the biggest things that impacts most businesses that are trying to build their businesses. Business people trying to build their businesses. It's this finite resource, so there's not only the cash requirement and obviously managing, the resources around cash and making sure that you've got profit and managing costs, etc. But time is the other big one. So we've only got so much time. We've all got the same allocation, but some people use it better than others. And there's some simple tools or principles that I like to apply that can just give you that little edge.
Yep, mate. I remember what we were talking about today. I remember you telling me about it probably 4 or 5 years ago. And the beauty of it is the simplicity of it. It's a very simple decision-making tool to use when you're looking at your day and all the tasks you've got to do in a day. Or when I look at my day and look at all the tasks I get done in my day, that I can put them into 3 categories. So I know you've been doing it for a lot longer than that. And that's why I'm really happy you want to share it with everyone, because I think it's, like I said, simple, and simple usually works best. And it's the triple Ds, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a triple D. So it's effectively dump, delegate, or do. So it rolls off the tongue fairly easily. But like you said, it's simple. This is not rocket science, this one. It's pretty straightforward. But the beauty about it being simple and a no cost strategy, it's also effective. So it has proven time and time again. And, even when I get lost, and this is the thing, you do always fall back into some bad routines from time to time.
Yep. We just got to default, don't we? We default like trying to get everything done.
Yep. And that's where it then proves again is, okay, stop being distracted, bring back triple D again, because it's just a winner for time management and cost effective. Look, geez, you don't have to pay for that. It's just all about applying that in your principles and routines. So that's why we do it. So do you want me to talk to the how's, whys, and some examples through that?
Right. Definitely. But just to reiterate, everyone, the 3 Ds are dump, do, and delegate. They're very self-explanatory and very simple. But Tony's just going to elaborate on that right now.
Yep. So basically, how it's applied is it's applied to all your tasks. So everyone's got a set of tasks that they do within their function, within their business, within their responsibility area, within that business. So it just comes down to all those tasks is how do you handle them effectively. Now, what you've got to get to is you've got to get to this point of what's critical. Yep. These critical items that are in your business, which is another separate conversation, but it's something that you'll probably find with what I talk to, and you've found that, Taz, over the years, is what counts, because that's the key driver to success. So It's easy enough said, but trying to identify that's a key. But anything that falls outside of that critical component is that you've got to make so the critical parts are the things that you need to do,
Yep.
or you need to delegate it. So you still need to keep that in there. But anything that is outside that is a total waste of time. And you need to identify those areas and you need to dump them. You just have to say, look, just and don't even push them out till later. Don't leave them and say, oh, look, I'll come back to that because I think I might use it, or I think it has some purpose here. Don't. Just move on. What you'll find over time with these things that you do dump is that they circle back again. They circle back again and again and again, and they take more and more and more time. So just dump them. So see you later. Now, the piece about doing and delegating and how you do that is that the delegation piece comes down to capacity management. So not every firm or every business, not every painting business out there has endless amount of capacity to support them to delegate to. So, but that's part of the journey in business. You've got to start to build that. And sometimes you can actually outsource some of those functions that may not be the critical things that you need to do, but you need to delegate them. So think outside the square a little bit. May not have the resources internally. Maybe I can partner or tap into something else that may support the delegation of that.
If you speak to that, Tony, just an example, guys and girls, is way back when we start out, we've got to do everything. We've got to wear every hat, from invoicing to quoting to admin to wages to HR to scaffold to paint to painting, everything in between. But then it gets to a point where you're completely maxed out and you need a hand. For me, what worked well right at the beginning was to find someone to delegate the basic admin. So we had Maya back then. So help me do the data entry and checking on the invoices, because that was taking the most amount of time of my time. And most of that time was spent after hours. So that time was usually when I got home, probably 4 or 5 in the afternoon until 8 o'clock at night. And then on Sundays, I just go, okay, for me, but you get to a capacity, like Tony said, and you go, okay, there's no more of me left to go. And then Tony's talking about, potentially bringing in someone. Now, I didn't go and bring someone on full time, as Tony knows. I brought someone on part-time first, and then you go from half a day to 1 day to 2 days, depending on the capacity. And then you're able to do more work because I could spend more time on the critical areas. And for me back then, the critical areas was the sales. The more time I had to go and quote and win jobs, the more jobs I could do, the more jobs we could paint. So I think that's just an idea of delegation, external delegation, if you don't already have the resources. But it's about looking at the pressure points in the business that need to get done. But what's in my experience back then, what was critical was not only just finishing the jobs on time under budget, was to get more jobs to feed that flow. So that became more of a critical component than balancing my invoices. Not collecting cash, I'm just saying checking the invoices. Yeah.
That's right. And as you go through the journey, Taz, you're continually finding ways or things that you need to delegate or to find solutions for, so that you move the business into the next level. It's a continuum. It happens in every business. It happens along your journey. In the painting business or your career, that you continually start to look for opportunities to make what you do now redundant or delegated.
I'll give everyone an example of what not to do. What I learned early on is abdicate. Now, very close to delegate is abdicate, where you just get, if I had some books, you just get your stuff and you just give it to the person to sort it out. That was my first experience with the first bookkeeper. And by abdicating, you're not really taking responsibility of what's going on. You need to be able to, if you're going to delegate, there needs to be some clear guidelines too. Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, what you delegate may not come out the other end the way you want.
Yeah.
So not abdicate, just think those, delegate.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So there's some important points there on sort of how to sort of start to use it. And just want to touch on a couple of other items there, is that make sure that you're focused on not hogging the things that you like doing and find easy. This is also part of that delegation piece, or the doing piece, is that what the job's never always done. And there's a point where you've got to continually start to push yourself all the time. Because if we fall back to this idea of just doing the things that we enjoy, we're not pushing ourselves or pushing the business. And you do find yourself in a similar situation to what you just said, Taz, is that you abdicate the hard work. You abdicate it. You've gone, well, you know, that person there's sitting idle, I'll give them this because this is something that they can do, but not necessarily training them well enough. And also then potentially just hogging stuff that might be easy or comfortable for you or you enjoy, rather than pressing yourself to go to the next level.
Yes.
So find those things that are challenging. So the keys around that is to identify with all the functions that you have on your list, is find, you know, 2 or 3 things that are challenging for you and focus on doing them.
Yep.
Rest, either dump or look to delegate if you can.
Yeah.
I just wanted to then talk to Taz, if that's okay, just the whys. So why do we do this? I mean, obviously task management through time management is the key. So that finite resource.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a piece of us as we in our business.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's, you know, our customers, our staff, or even our family and whatever, is that they always want a piece of us. So if we don't allow time for the critical relationships in our lives, is that we'll never sort of you know, manage our time effectively, and we won't do. So that's part of the reason why you've got to make these rules, and you got to make it a routine. So some of the reasons why for painters as well is that they want to get off the tools. Some of the audience might want to, you know, go, well, I'm a painter as a technician and I can paint, but I actually want to be a business person. I want to be a business owner. And that's a different mindset. So getting these sorts of tools in place is going to make it easy for you to get off the tools effectively.
Yeah. But just sorry to interrupt, Tony, but it's even starts as technicians. The dump, do, a delegate. Sometimes, I know I've been guilty of it. It's cool to drive around to the paint shop and do the cruisy jobs, but it's not really critical or effective to actually moving the business forward. You could either delegate to the shops, for example. I talk to painters all the time, and most of us know this, but we get comfortable because we like to cruise around to the shops and pick up paint, but the shops will deliver. So if we had a routine in the afternoon to be able to see the stock we've got that day, for the next day, I'll do a phone delivery the next day, all of a sudden you've delegated that task that can chew up an hour a day of driving around, although easy and fun to do, not critical.
Yeah.
But it's already in the technical side as well. So we build up those skills, a dump, do, a delegate as we're on the tools. Even I know guys that love the spray. If that's fine, but if you're going to stay on the spraying, it's very hard to work on the business if you're not going to be able to train and delegate that task to someone else, so you can go and work on the business.
Yeah.
And then you're right, you sort of continue to evolve up and up and up and up onto different levels.
That's right. And that's where the leverage part comes in, is if you train, you know, obviously it's the old saying, if, you know, you teach a man to fish, he'll feed himself and obviously his tribe. So you've got to teach those people that are at your disposal, your resources, to become better at something you probably are good at. But don't be fearful that they're going to take all that knowledge and go elsewhere. If they do, they do. Your job is then to create culture and and whatever, a good environment for them to work in, but also think abundance. There is an abundance of work out there. So if you are always in that fearful spot, that's never going to get you that opportunity to make yourself redundant in these key areas that get your business strategy focused on the critical areas of growing and winning new work, etc.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to then possibly talk to some examples of how you would work on the 3Ds here, Taz.
Yep, the dump, do, delegate, 3Ds. Yep.
So the biggest thing is probably, and the easiest thing, is to look at these things that are time wasters, the things that you can dump. Now, I tend to, most businesses that I sort of go into is that I can pretty well quickly with the business owners that may have lost a bit of focus and drive and trying to get to that next level, is that their time management has been eroded by things that they could dump to the level of 80% plus. Depending on the business.
80%.
Yeah, yeah. This time is wasted on the non-critical.
Yep.
And it's going through that, trying to think about this after this meeting, over the next few days, over the next week, trying to build in these routines. I think it's 21 days of continual making a routine, it becomes a habit. But keeping that in mind with a lot of the functions and a lot of the tasks that you're doing, start to put a line through them, whether that's, attending to emails, attending to things that are silver bullet solutions. I see a lot of businesses sort of fall foul of, I've got to follow this silver bullet option that's going to solve all my problems. Okay, it's like buying the lotto ticket, and that's going to solve your problems. Well, it just doesn't work. A lot of hard work works. That's the key, guys. Yeah. So find out what's critical, dump the rest, focus on the hard work, and you'll get there. The delegation piece is identifying those functions that you can train others. As you suggested, Taz, say, for example, spraying, finding someone else that can do that. What you like to do, doesn't matter what it is, but also finding solutions that you could outsource.
Yeah. A
lot of the stuff like administration, the bookkeeping, HR, IT, systems development, process documentation, all that sort of stuff.
I've got a mantra. I've had this for a long time. Don't worry about how, who do I need? When you think about how, and we've all done this, if you're thinking about a project, guys, you think about something, and you're going like, how do I need to do that? Like, how am I going to, like, for example, how am I going to penetrate the residential market in this current climate? So the how, there's a lot of questions there. Very confusing. Well, how am I going to build a social media profile so I can get more branding to my target market? If we change that how and put who can do that for me, or who can I get to do that for me, it takes away all that noise of the how. And that's what you, to the point you're talking about with the delegation.
Perfect, Kaz.
I like who, not how.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the perfect thing for delegation. It is the who.
Yeah.
Who is it that you can give it to? Yep.
It's so easy to bog down in the how. We all do it. How I'm going to do this, and you map out 25 tasks you got to do, and then you're overwhelmed by all of that. For example, if it's just a bookkeeper or some help with some financials, whereas who can do this for me? Do your research, talk to people. Great, you can get a bookkeeper part-time. All of a sudden, all that how, it's irrelevant. You don't need to become a mile or zero expert. You've just gone, who can do this? Do your research, delegate. You can go do what you do best.
That's right. Yeah. And that just then, once you've done that, that should leave out the key critical areas that you need to do yourself. And they're going to be your functions and responsibilities going forward. They're stuck with you for now.
Yeah.
And that's why I say for now, is because you then become a master of them. But then there's other weaknesses and there's other things that you need to attend to that become critical to get the business to the next level.
Yeah.
So then you start to, again, find someone, the who, that you can delegate that to.
Cool. So, mate, just a quick summary, guys and girls. The 3 Ds to effective time management: dump, do, or delegate. Tony was just sharing before that potentially up to 80% of the tasks that we're doing, we can dump. I know from my experience, the critical things in the business is the top 10%. If we create a routine and a practice and a process of doing those things, and we covered them a fortnight ago. If anyone want to go back and watch that video, we covered those, actually 10 of them. And we zeroed in on cash flow. If you want to know where to start, they're critical. And then there's going to be the remaining bits that need to be done. I mean, there might be compliance and functions of the business that potentially you can start to delegate. I like to start my morning by being really clear in the morning. Everyone knows I have a daily routine. I write down what I want to achieve, and what my goals are, how I'm going to do it, my intention for the day, and I go down and go, okay, what's the number one thing I need to get done today? And that's what I focus on. But if you get stuck, guys, what works is pick something easy, hit it, get momentum, and then what happens is you start rolling. Sometimes you get we can get bogged down. We look at our to-do list for the day and go, shit, where do I start? Start with something easy for momentum, because psychologically it does help when you get a bit of a win and you build that momentum. That's my experience.
Yep, 100%.
Cool. Thanks, Tony. Really appreciate your time again.
Good, Taz, everyone. Thanks for inviting me again.
Mate, we're going to be talking after this, and we're doing a big one in a couple of weeks. That's coming up.
Yeah,
so
good.
Look forward to it. Thanks, guys, girls.
Thanks, everyone.
Good day. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. See ya. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.